Okay, boys and girls, today's work is on length. We're on page 12 of the Intermaths book. And question 1 asks you to find an object with length that is approximately, then you have 15 millimeters. What you have to pay attention to here is the units of measurement. We all know that millimeters are very, very small, okay? About the width of a paperclip, for example. You know, the wire on a paperclip is 1 millimeter wide. Then the next one is centimeters. So 3 centimeters would be maybe, I can't think of anything right now that's 3 centimeters wide, typical. Then 60 centimeters. 60 centimeters would be twice the length of a long ruler. Okay, because a long ruler is generally 30 centimeters. 1000 millimeters, think how many meters that would be or how many centimeters that would be. See if you can work it out. Then we have 2 meters and then we have 400 millimeters. So you have to, each time you have to look at the units and convert it into something that you can imagine. Okay, and then you need to find an object. So think of an object or look around the room and see if you can see anything that has approximately that length. Okay, around about that length. Just doesn't have to be exactly that length. But for example, you couldn't put elephant for 15 millimeters. That wouldn't make sense. Okay. Number 2, then you have to measure the lines. So you measure them in centimeters and millimeters. Okay. So one of them might be 4 centimeters, 5 millimeters, something like that. Or you could write down 4.5 centimeters. Or you could write 45 millimeters. Just make sure that you have the units correct. And then number 3, you have to draw lines. So make sure that your ruler is lined up correctly, that the 0 on your ruler is right at the edge of the line. They've started the lines for you, which is quite strange. Haven't seen that before in Intermaths. Now, in number 4, you have to complete the table. You have 4 options. You have a ruler, you have a measuring tape, you have another measuring tape, must be a longer one, and then you have a trundle wheel. Okay, so you have to say what do you think you would measure each item with, okay, and then what units do you think you would use to measure it, and then estimate. So have a guess, a good guess. My screen has gone black. Here it is. Have a good guess at the length and then the actual measurement, boys and girls. If it's something you have at home, you can measure it and do it. But most of them, like for example, the classroom, a whiteboard, you're not going to be able to do that. So we'll do the actual measurement when we're back in the classroom, which hopefully won't be too far away. Let's see. Okay, and then there's a word problem down the end. See if you can figure that one out. Okay, then on to page 13. Now, up the top, they talk about kilometers and all these different units of length. The ones that we concentrate, boys and girls. Okay, so we see 1 HM, 1 DM, decameter, but the ones that we use generally are kilometer, km, meter, obviously, centimeters and millimeters. The other ones are not very common, okay? So we don't want you to get too worried about them at the moment. For the page, you don't need them. We're going to concentrate on kilometers, meters, centimeters and millimeters. Make sure that you know the relationship between all of those, okay? Kilometers, meters, centimeters and millimeters. At the back of your mental maths book, there are tables that give you all that information. It's very important. Now, number 1, you have to convert from kilometers to meters, okay? So we know that there are 1000 meters in 1 kilometer. So we use that information to convert our distances or lengths, okay? So the first column we're converting from kilometers to meters, and then over to the right we're doing the opposite. We're converting from meters to kilometers. Okay, you can use your decimal points there. And then underneath we're converting from meters and centimeters to centimeters, and then on the other side from centimeters back to meters. And then number 2, you have a number of word problems that you just need to think about, boys and girls. Read the problem, note any any clues that you can see, and just when you get your answer, check to see, does it make sense? Okay. And then number 3, you have to create 2 of your own word problems. It says for your neighbour, you don't have neighbours. Lily and Daphne have neighbours. But you could ask somebody in your family, or you could just write them up, and then when you send them to me, I'll see if they're good or not. Okay, that's the work for today, boys and girls. It is mostly revision. Remember to use the table at the back of Mental Maths to help you. Okay, bye.